Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is August 21st and we are looking at a blank piece of land. Well, not quite blank because part of the reason I didn't make a video yesterday was all I ended up doing was a ton of Thaumcraft research, and didn't really craft anything. And then while I was doing that and waiting for the node to refill and around researches, I was trying to get this build craft builders filler to work. Uh, I thought I was going nuts because I've definitely used it before. I mean, it's been a few years, but I know the general idea. You throw out the land markers, which I don't have in my inventory anymore, uh, and get yourself, it'll do some red lasers, make a cube, plop this down next to it, and boom, it like turns into the construction lines. Uh, as far as I can tell, it does not work on this version of the game, which is, I believe, 2.7.4. I did go back. I finally gave up. I was driving myself nuts. It was anytime I've thought something was like broken or bugged out, it's always just been user error. This time I went back to an older version of the game. I still have a 2.6 and a 2.5 instance. I didn't try the 2.5, but when I tried it on 2.6, followed the same method, worked just fine. So that was a little unfortunate. Supposedly there's an item called the matter manipulator that'll be good here on 2.8. I was actually confused because I asked for help on the Discord, just make sure, because I was sure I had to be doing something wrong with it. And the response was just use the matter manipulator. And I got even more confused because that's not an NEI yet. But you can get that on the beta. But anyways, also the other thing, like I said, I did was a bunch of warp, or not warp. I did get removed tons of warp, but was a bunch of researches. So you head this way real quick. You can see from above this whole little setup going. But we will get to that in just 1 second. Let me in. Even set up this whole cage because I was spawning enemies, getting rid of all my warp. But where is my Thaumanomicon? So between yesterday and then I finished it out this morning, I think my bees couldn't, just a small side note, I think my bees couldn't keep up with this node and all the research I was doing, specifically because I have these two nodes. At least that's my theory. Because from the math I've seen, the 8 bees that I have powering this should have been more than enough, but it didn't seem to be able to keep up. So, but if we go through the Thaumanomicon, I'm not going to click on, well, I'll just hit every tab. So I'm literally to the point where I've got everything done that I can possibly do. And then since I couldn't progress, I looked up how to unlock the next thing because I thought I had scanned everything. I know specifically for the Eldritch one, I need to go to the Outer Lands. So I looked up how to do that, and to do that, I need the bigger wand, which I still am on my 80 VCAP wand down here. So that's kind of where I've got to. So I'm back to needing to make the Primal Vortex, which to make the Primal Vortex, we need, I think it's a tune? No. Node. If we go like this, I should be able to see what it crafts into. No. Advanced node stabilizer? Yeah, sir. So I need 6 of these vortex attenuators and a few other items, which in themselves need a bunch. And of course, with that, I need a bunch of Essentia. So I was like, all right. Instead of sitting there manually doing this, go back to my original plan of moving along pretty good. So today, spent a ton of time crafting a bunch of different Thaumcraft items. We can see we've got tons of Essentia stuff, these frame boxes. Not so much I've crafted a ton of these constructs today. If we go to Essentia tanks, where is this? So we got the Essentia reservoir, which is, if I go upwards into the Apimancer's drainer, got all these items that are needed. So I need basically 69 of these. So I crafted 69 of these alchemical centrifuges, which is a ton of stuff, especially because you need just piles and piles of all these items. But I believe I have everything actually crafted that I'm going to need to do this setup, like besides the infusion stuff. So I figured, though, while I'm working on this, like, I'm going to plop them down as I go. So, like, whatever ones of these are more pains in the butt to get, I'll drop them down first and put a test of the bee. So I was all ready to go, thought I was good. So I even laid out my area for the bees, this is a view from below. So basically, way back when I moved from way over there, which is my initial Stone Age base, this was my MV base, and a mixture of these buildings all together was like my HV area. In the middle, for a very long time, I just kept these furnaces going, make myself steel. So this like particular block in the center was just always mass pollution, and I didn't have a nano suit and stuff. So like I would only walk in as quickly as possible, grab my steel, get out, and I just kept it full basically the whole time I was there. It took me basically to AE before I started using different recipes for steel, but with one exception, which was when I made the clean room, because I decided I wanted to have a huge clean room to not mess around. But that's besides the point. So that'd be kind of cool, just leave this, especially with all the bees making flowers constantly in the center, just, the derelict old pollution causer with a bunch of bees, just doing environmental stuff. Kind of like the vibe for that. But it created this guy here. So basically, you need, to get all the different instances, need 8 different apiaries. And I was all ready to go, and then I put this guy in there, and I started getting wither skeleton bone chips. I was like, wait, that's not right. The Essentia bee's not supposed to produce anything. Then I realized there are 2 types of Essentia bees. This one, the one that I made 8 of to go, is the wrong one. So I just crafted this Essentia. Luckily it wasn't too bad, because I already had, basically this guy's crafted from order and chaotic bees, and I already had these 2 crafted anyway, so it was just a matter of doing one more breed, but I had to get the stats up and everything. So I'm gonna test this guy together, throw him in there. I guess I didn't look at it. So this one, I already, because I did try to do this earlier with the wrong bee, I have this guy set to the harvest one, just this guy, so I don't have any like mass ways of making meadow. So I did my first craft to get that said meadow. And let's see how fast this is working. Where's that? Oh yeah, that's flying. That's cool. Nice. So yeah, at some point very soon, I'll have all 69 of these going, and that will be pretty glorious. And then once I have those set up, I'll get back onto the wand progression, and then set up basically the 3 things I need to automate, which are, I need a bigger wand no matter what to be able to automate the actual arcane crafting, but I want to automate the crucible and automate the infusions, and we'll be good to go. Might be able to automate the infusions already technically, because I use Steve's factory manager, especially once I get the initial bees, and then maybe I'll just automate it to finish out the last few, and that'd be kind of cool to, while I'm working on the wand, have that auto infusing down there. But basically the general setup, I do need to set up drawers and stuff for these still, I realize, but as you can see, chose corner, kind of just one everywhere. Then underneath, I added a new P2P network right here. I did have to change part of the main spline coming in this direction into Spark cable, because I was out of channels. But I basically, if we were looking at the map as a whole, the AE controller's down here, and then there's just a long line that comes up and over. But the B come off that line already. These guys over here are on their own line. So I basically did smart cable up to this point. I crafted enough in the background. I'll be able to swap this out if I need to, if I need another P2P network down here. But now this guy's smart cable, or sorry, I should keep saying smart cable. Whenever I say smart cable, I'm generally referring to dense cable. So now this is dense cable right here. So I have, and then I didn't bother swapping these out because I don't need it. yet. And my next area, which is going to be ore processing, I'm going to build right here. And I don't plan, this whole area is reserved for something special later, but I want terraforming abilities before I mess around with that, because that's a lot of digging. But yeah, so I did a ton of crafting today. Like I said, this is all satisfying to be knocked out. So I cleared my warp because that was going to drive me nuts. I'm trying to think, I feel like there was something else I was about to go over that I slipped my mind. Oh yeah, actually. So until earlier, last we left off, I had sticking out right here an infusion provider. I think I still have it in my inventory. So I did my first few infusions to be able to get that setup going. And especially once I got to doing these guys, where you have tons of these, it is very slow. So while I was doing all those researches yesterday, I learned about an item I hadn't personally heard of called the Infusion Interceptor. So all you do is you hook that guy to just a regular old Essentia provider directly under the center pedestal, and then hook that to your AE network. And as long as the Essentia is available over here, it just instantly provides all the Essentia to the recipe, and then it just goes right into pulling items. You don't have to wait on that animation where it like slowly pulls the Essentia to the center. Like, it just bypasses all of that and substantially speeds it up. So pretty confident that if not tonight, then tomorrow I should be able to have all the bees set up if I don't decide to take a detour to the Steve's factory manager, which I don't even, let's see, Steve factory manager, cargo manager, factory manager, inventory. I haven't looked to see how expensive this block is. Factory manager. I wonder if it's just this block. If so, that's really cheap, but that's probably not right. I'll have to look into that more, because I could have swore the block itself was called the Steve's Factory Manager, but that's not important. Like I said, once you have the ability to, I highly recommend doing this. And then I cannot stress enough, especially with the amount of stuff I crafted today. I mean, I crafted like hundreds and hundreds of items I say by hand loosely, because it was in this crafting grid. I'm pretty confident that I would have crashed out if it wasn't specifically for this arcane crafting terminal and being hooked to a energized node that keeps the wand constantly refilling. It took a little while, but it was so much better than it could have been. So, I mean, honestly, if you have the ability to even set up the most basic of AE network and you want to do some magic, it will just save you so much time. I highly recommend it. But I am going to get back to setting up more passive Essentia, fixing these 8 bees that are the wrong Essentia bees into the right one, and just continue working on that setup before I move on to crafting the items to upgrade the wand. So I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.